Life is simple. That doesn't mean it's easy.
Okay.
Organization is simple. That doesn't mean it's easy, but it's not rocket
Mm.
science. You mentioned early on, like you're like when you walk into a room and it's just a disaster, like you get super excited. That is not the typical reaction for someone.
Creating a step-by-step process can be really helpful too for just like understanding how to tackle something. But really, I think having someone there can be really beneficial. But also, who you have there, I think, can be really important.
Welcome back to the podcast. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day today. I am joined by my guest, Brittany Moore. Welcome, Brittany. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. Why don't you maybe start off by giving us a little 1-minute origin story about who you are and what you do, and we can delve into that fun topic of organization here in a minute.
All right. My name's Brittany B. Moore. I'm originally from California. Don't hold it against me. But I've been in Texas for well over a decade. So I like to say I'm a well-adjusted Texan. Got into organizing as, a young teenager. Worked for my mom as a designer, and somewhere along the way figured out that I could do it as a full-time job. And so I've been an organizer here in Austin, Texas since 2011. And I like to say that we really love to just help people declutter their lives and create more efficiency so that they can live their best life at home. And it's just really fun to feel like we get to come into someone's environment every day and help them, leave them in a better place than we found them. So yeah, I have a son who's 3 years old. He loves trucks and trains and anything with a motor. And I have a really great team here in Austin. And so just really blessed with them.
That's awesome. I'm not a Californian, but I'm also not originally from Austin. I feel like it seems like very few of us are. And so, yeah, definitely don't hold it against you. It's just, hey,
Okay.
for those of us that moved here, yeah, obviously the place is going to change, but like, why would you try to make it like the place you left, right? Like we left the place for a reason. How about we try to make this place different for better reasons?
100%. I drive a truck. I've got a lot of cowboy boots, and I've got quite a gun collection too.
I mean, from a name standpoint, I don't think you could have asked for a better name to try to brand a company, be more organized. Like, it's just pretty...
I lucked out for sure.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. A lot of times clients will be like, oh, I'm like, oh, did you look at other organizers? Because I really try to push clients. I'm like, please interview multiple people, get a sense for what we do and why. And they'll be like, oh, your name really stuck out to us. We interviewed 3 people and we couldn't remember any of their names. We just remembered your name and we loved you. Like, I love it. Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, that's all. It's cool to hear you say that because, right, as a real estate agent, same type of thing. Like, I'd love to help everybody. I'm sure you'd love to help everybody too, but you're not the right fit for every person that has organizational needs to organize their house, their office, their whatever it may be. And you want people to, when they choose you to do something, that they're comfortable in that choice and that you're gonna have a good working relationship, because it is a working relationship. It's not going to Starbucks, ordering a coffee and I didn't really care for the barista. No, it's not that kind of relationship. Like, we need to start getting a little personal here. I start talking about your finances, about what are your plans with life. Every once in a while you have people that are getting married, getting divorced. Like, it gets a lot more personal. And so I want you to have as much confidence in me as possible and as much trust as possible, because this is not a quick transaction. It's a journey. So we want to be on the same page.
100%. I agree with everything that you just said. I always tell our team, I'm like, we're like a hairstylist meets a personal assistant, because the way you sit down in most women especially, right? Sit down in their hairstylist chair. They're like,
have quite the same problem with that, but yeah, I've heard.
Yeah. So we hear about, their issues at work, their issues with their kids, their issues with their husband, their wife, anything. We really become their like personal confidant. And additionally, we're going to help you organize all of your files. We're going to learn about most likely all of your investments and your taxes and everything, because we are helping you organize every single little detail of your life. And of course, you have great contracts and everything, so our clients can feel safe and secure with that information in our hands. And that's where it's so fun with what we do, is there's literally not a drawer or a cabinet in the majority of our clients' homes that we don't tackle and organize. And so they're really left, when we're done with that project, feeling like they know where everything is, everything has a home and has a place, and there's not just this stress of like, where is that? Or where do I put this back? Or there's a real sense of calm.
Yeah, unless someone, and I'm sure you probably do run into people who are like, don't do that room. I don't know if you're familiar with the TV show Friends, where Monica has that closet that's always locked, that she's a neat freak, but this one closet just says everything's stored in there that isn't neat at all, type of thing. Like you're going to have to know where all those types of things belong. And again, same thing in my line of work, where right, like the thing that you don't think is important to disclose usually is the thing that then ruins the deal, because you didn't mention that, oh yeah, I'm taking a new job, or I just got laid off, or whatever those things are. And so there's no judgment for that person, but
right.
by being more open and honest, we can actually serve you better than by trying to compartmentalize different aspects of what's going on.
100%. When we really understand your lifestyle and your pain points and the struggles that you're facing in life and just all the elements that you're juggling, we can then better develop a system for you. And really too, one of the biggest things with organizing is actually decluttering. Not all of our competitors or whatnot in the field, I would say, focus maybe as much on that as we do, because I've really found that I feel like God's blessed me with this ability to walk into a room that's like floor to ceiling stuff. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to tackle this. But a lot of people, that's really overwhelming. And so what that really shows us too is that we're all built differently. We can all only handle so much stuff. We all have our areas, right? Like some girls are really into purses and have 100 purses, or shoes and have 200 pairs of shoes. But a lot of times too, we just have so much stuff. A lot of research shows that we have more than 300,000 items in our homes. That's a lot of things to juggle. Every single item in your home requires something of you. You have to move it. You have to clean it. You have to do something with it in some way. And so with the act of really focusing on decluttering and asking the right questions and getting you to get down to what is it I really need, that really just relieves like so much weight off your shoulders so that you can focus on those other things that you're either struggling with in your life or goals and activities. So decluttering is something we really focus on.
Nice. Yeah. It's funny that when talking about that makes me think of when I am showing clients, say, a new home, they're maybe trying to get into a larger home because they're growing family or whatever it may be. And they're like, oh, there's just so much space. We wouldn't have enough stuff to fill it all. And I'm like, you will. Doesn't matter. You will. It doesn't matter how big it is. You will find enough stuff to fill the space. That, and then the other thing I always tell them is, I've never had a client complain about having too much room for storage. Like, never had a client.
Nope.
There's just too much storage space. Like, you can never have enough of that.
It's funny. I've heard that once or twice because we do move-ins. So we'll help clients and we'll handle an entire move from end to end. And we'll have clients move into bigger homes and they're like, what am I going to do with all this space? And then most of our clients, we do at minimum annual maintenance appointments. And so when we come back a year later or 6 months later, or whenever they want their maintenance appointment, it's amazing how it's always filled up. And then that's really what our maintenance appointments are for, is just helping you then get back to like par and declutter, because we do with Amazon, with ordering online, with always the new iPod or the new whatever coming out, there's always something new to buy, which means there's always something old. And a lot of times we're not very good about then taking that old item, that old spatula or old can opener or whatever it is, and then taking it to Goodwill or doing something else with it. A lot of times it'll just end up in the back of a closet or the back of a drawer. And so that's how that clutter slowly builds up. And especially when you have kids, because you have toys everywhere and you have clothes everywhere. So there's so much clutter in our lives. And if we don't have a way to really consistently take care of that, whether it's once a week or once a month, or inviting an organizer in to help you stay decluttered and just force you to ask those hard questions and be that accountability partner, it's really easy for clutter to build up and quickly.
Yeah.
No matter how big your house is.
Exactly. Yeah. It's one of those things that, like, as frustrating and as daunting and as stressful as having an organized space can be, I also try to flip it every once in a while on the other side and think of how blessed most Americans are to be able to have that much stuff, right? Like, totally. Of all the problems to have, it's a very first world problem that I have too much stuff and it's not organized. And so again, it's not that it doesn't still create stress, create conflict, all these other types of things that should be resolved, and hopefully you should get more organized, but it really comes from a place of abundance.
It does. And what's interesting about that, there's this like cycle if you think about it. And I'm just going to use a girl as an example right now. A lot of times women will have these like shopping problems, right? Oh, I'm having a bad day. I don't feel good. I'm going to go shopping, right? And I'm sure guys do it in their own ways too. But so a girl isn't feeling good. She goes out, she buys a pair of shoes. The shoes temporarily make her feel better. Like, I feel great in these shoes. I love shoes. It is. Eventually she has 250 pairs of shoes. She can't even find a pair of shoes when she needs a matching set or when she needs her little pink pumps or whatever it is. And so then it just leads to more anxiety and more stress. And so it's really interesting. Actually, Lawrence University and Princeton University showed that people with cluttered homes actually tend to suffer from like insomnia and feel more tired because of all that like mental stress and just the clutter that is created in their homes. And furthermore, they actually also showed that, people who have like messy, decluttered or cluttered homes actually are 77% more likely to be obese or overweight. So it's interesting because a lot of times we go out and we buy these things because we think they're going to make us happy, but we're not really thinking about it holistically of, do I really need it? Do I have a space to put it? Like, how am I going to find it when I need it or whatnot? Like in the classic example, whenever we go into homes, especially like homes with kids, it's like the Band-Aid problem. There's like a kid's always falling and they always need a Band-Aid and they can never find another Band-Aid when they need one. So we find boxes of Band-Aids in like drawers and cabinets throughout homes that have kids. So it's the Band-Aid problem that like you go out and you buy something, if it doesn't have a home or if you have too much stuff and your house is just cluttered, you're actually going to waste a lot of money because you're going to be rebuying the same things. And we find that to be true in pantries a lot too. Almost 40%, 30 to 40% of everything in a pantry when we go into a home to organize is expired because you buy so much, that abundance, and then you forget that you have it. It gets shoved in the back. So really being more minimal saves you a lot of money in so many ways.
Yeah, like you get that immediate endorphin hit when you buy whatever it is, right? You buy the shoes, you buy whatever.
Something's on sale.
Yeah,
Ooh.
like, oh yeah, like I need another one of that, which you never do. But
Yep.
then you don't. It's much harder to quantify the effects that you say that has on you long term about, if it's a really bad shopping habit about spending money you don't potentially have. That's maybe easier to quantify with a credit card bill, but like the rest of having a closet that's so full of stuff you can't find what you want when you need it, the unproductivity of not knowing where things are at throughout the day. And it's like a lot of things in life, right? So I really like health and fitness, and so I can equate a lot of different things to that because it also relates to a lot of people. Like it's rare that you can go on a crash diet or a crash organization fix and organize your home, and suddenly that's going to be the solution to all your problems. Like it'll be maybe a temporary thing. You'll have hopefully things in a better place for the moment. But unless you really can build those habits of trying to stay organized, having the annual maintenance check, but even within that, having the self-discipline to be better. Everyone gets a cheat day. Everyone should be able to go shopping for shoes once in a while and celebrate themselves. But at the same point in time, it's important to be disciplined, not because being disciplined is depriving yourself of anything. In fact, it's actually usually being disciplined is rewarding yourself long term. And so I think a lot of people we've unfortunately, in a lot of cases, have a hard time realizing that long-term delaying gratification.
Yeah, we have I split clients into two buckets in some ways. There's the clients that are probably somewhat organized. Maybe some type of transition has gotten them really messy, right? So maybe they got married, or maybe they moved, or maybe they had a new baby, or went back to school, or got a new job, or some kind of transition in their life created like a dysfunction, and then it just dominoed. And those types of people, typically, when we come in and we declutter them and we give them systems and label everything, and they know where stuff goes, everything has a home, they're going to do pretty well at maintaining those systems. And to your point, everyone has messy days. I tell clients, your house will be a disaster again, but now you have a system. Now you know where to pick up those things and like where to put them back. Before, you just started shoving them in closets or wherever you could.
One room looked really good, but the next room, we took all the stuff that was in here and put it in there. So we really didn't help ourselves that much at all. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a solution now. But then there's another type of client where they need the decluttering, they need the systems, but it's like you said, it's a practice of forming those habits and then helping them through accountability, really stay on track with those habits. And so for those clients, we actually love to just really work with them for a much longer period of time. So typically shorter appointments. And sometimes that's also really good for clients who are on a budget and are like, hey, I really can't afford this entire, package of what you've put together. And being a Christian firm too, we really don't turn away any client. We're always going to find a way to make it affordable to someone. But what we've found that's so interesting and beneficial for those clients is when we just come once a month for 4 hours or whatever it is, whatever the client can afford, we found that with that accountability over time, we've really helped that client create those habits and maintain those habits because they're like, oh my gosh, Brittany's coming back in 2 weeks. We have to put everything back where it was. There's a sense of accountability. And it's been fascinating. Those are some of the clients who, to your point about like fitness and other things, like they're eating healthier. They're getting rid of debt. They're not spending on things that they don't need. They're eating healthier. And that idea of like positive habits is dominoing into like other areas of their lives. And I've seen clients, just lose weight and get more money in their savings account and stop buying so much stuff on Amazon. I'll have clients all the time on Amazon Prime Day be like, Brittany, you'll be so proud of me. I didn't buy this. And I'm like, good. So I think we get thought of a lot on Amazon Prime Day.
Amazon Prime Day, Cyber Monday, probably.
Yep. Brittany's going to be upset if I buy this.
But that has to be obviously very rewarding and gratifying to have that kind of impact on people long term, say, versus just a one time try to come in solution for the day.
It's a funny saying, but like we think of our clients as like forever friends. Like really, once you have someone in your house who's seen every single corner and we've organized your underwear drawer, a lot of times clients are like, okay, we're just gonna, and obviously we're really sweet and kind people and you become friends with them, right? As you learn about someone's financials and someone's emotional struggles and family struggles, and you are creating systems to better their life, and you become friends with them. And then when we see them for their annual maintenance appointments, really our clients are those like forever friends in our lives. And it's really fun to see how they grow, how their kids grow, how our systems evolve over time to serve the family. And then, how their spending habits can change. And really, research shows that people only use 20% of what they own. So 80% of the things that you own in your life really aren't serving you. And of course, that's a statistic. There's always people who like veer a little away from that. I think I use probably more than 20% of what I own because I'm also very minimal in a lot of
getting rid of that extra percent that you wouldn't use that other people keep.
Yeah, definitely. There's people who veer from that statistic, but the majority of people fall into that statistic. And so that's why too, when we come into people's homes, we find that the average person has a ton they can declutter. They just really need someone to help ask them the right questions, and I think just be that accountability. It's a lot of times too, we're not doing anything magical, anything that someone else isn't capable of doing. It's that commitment. It's that habit of like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to go through all my shoes and I'm going to figure out what I really need. When you actually have a moment in your day, is that what you really want to do? Not really. No. So a lot of people are going to go on a walk or go sit and watch TV or do something else. And so it's really that when you're paying someone to be there, like you're going to get it done. And so I think that's the biggest benefit sometimes of hiring an organizer is we're just going to we're going to keep you accountable and we're really going to make sure that this gets done in a timely manner.
Yeah. I don't normally do this kind of thing, but I have a saying for 2023 and it's life is simple. That doesn't mean it's easy. Organization is simple. That doesn't mean it's easy, but it's not rocket science. Your eating healthy isn't rocket science. Going to the gym isn't rocket science. That doesn't mean it's easy to do those kind of things. You mentioned early on, like you're like, when you walk into a room and it's just a disaster, like you get super excited. That is not the typical reaction for someone that walks into a room. So for them to try to organize and declutter and stuff doesn't necessarily make it an easy task, but it's also not, again, a complicated task that anyone can do, right? Like you can take your 3-year-old and he can, hey, we need to clean up this room. And he understands, okay, we got to put things away, right? And so it's not.
We have a little song that we sing. Yeah.
It's not rocket science to make it happen. But again, it doesn't mean that it's just something that you're going to naturally, easily be able to change your habits.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's creating a step-by-step process can be really helpful too for just like understanding how to tackle something. But really, I think having someone there can be really beneficial. But also who you have there, I think can be really important. Going back to choosing the right organizer, choosing the right personality type for you. But also, a lot of times when we come into clients' homes, they've had a family member or a friend or someone who's tried to help them declutter in the past. And usually we have to tiptoe a little bit around like a button almost, because people can feel really, I don't know, if like threatened or defensive a lot of times when trying to think through how to declutter something or if they really need it. And I think it's really important if you're helping a family member or you're helping a friend declutter, it's not always what you say, it's how you say it too. So just being mindful and really empathetic in your words. And that's really something that we try to instill with our clients is just, again, putting ourselves in their shoes. And that's where really understanding, like, what are they going through in life right now? Like, we've had a couple of clients recently that have had cancer, and it's okay, we're going to have you just sit on the bed all day and we're going to bring everything to you. Like, we will adjust our method to suit their needs. And yeah, sharing everything you can with us is really helpful. And it brings it all very holistically into place.
Yeah. So as you look behind me, if you're watching the video for the podcast instead of listening, you can see how well organized this amazing backdrop that I have is, which I'm not going to turn the camera on, but that's exactly how well organized the rest of my house is. Maybe not. But if my house was potentially a little less organized, what would be a tip as far as where someone should start if they're trying to get a bit more organized in their home?
Yeah, a saying that we actually have is start by starting. A lot of times, I think this can be applied to anything in life. We get really overwhelmed when we think of the entire project, the entire thing. And so set some small goals. I'll tell clients, start with your junk drawer, your utility drawer. Pick a place in your house. A lot of times where we start with clients is after we've reviewed the whole house with them in their consultation. It's okay, great. What's causing you the most stress? Because we want to tackle that first. Let's reduce as much stress as we can as early and as soon as we can. And a lot of times, really common zones for clients are garages or master bath, master closet, kitchen, or playroom or something. But that can still feel really big and really daunting to clients. So start with a whole closet. Start with, like I said, a junk drawer or something, and let that build and build. And that's why we always save the worst for last. When we do appointments with clients, we always save paperwork and memorabilia for the last day because it's the hardest stuff to go through. But by then, we've had multiple days with them where they know that, oh, this is hard. I don't want to do this right now, but I know how good it feels. Like we've had so many wins now, decluttered so much. We've created so many great systems. And now it's, okay, I know if I just get through this, it's going to feel so great. So anyway, I would say set a goal, set something, a small goal. Figure out like why you want to declutter. Are you preparing to move? Are you preparing for a new baby? Are you just wanting your environment to feel more relaxing and at peace? So figure out why. That way you have that as like a motivator and a driver. And pick a goal that is something that you feel like you're capable of. Maybe you can do more than a drawer. So great, maybe do a guest closet or something. And then just create a plan. Like, okay, I'm going to set aside this time on Sunday afternoon for 4 hours or an hour or whatever it is based on your space, and be like, I'm going to tackle it. And then it can be really helpful just to create some categories. So whether you have trash bags or bins or something, you have your stuff that you want to keep in a pile, and then stuff that you want to donate and or sell in a pile or two, and then the trash pile. And then that way, as you're picking up each item, it's okay, I'm keeping this, great. So now it's going to go in the keep pile. And then as you keep things, you can then start to categorize things too, like putting all your pencils together or putting all your pens together or putting tape and glue and things like that together. So you can start to just create those kind of basic categories. Now, of course, if we were the ones doing it, we would bring in the right products and the right things so that in the drawer you have little dividers and things to help keep those categories together. And that's a really big element of organizing, which I don't think clients always realize the big cost involved in that. If we go through a house and we declutter everything and then we categorize everything, it's not going to stay that way unless you have the right products in place. So sort your items, but if you can, engage with an organizer or go to your nearest Target or something and buy some organizers. That way you can really keep those categories together so that the work and the time that you put into it stays. And then anyway,
just organize the junk drawer, but you haven't like figured out, hey,
created
these
zones.
are how it's going to stay, then it just eventually usually is going to just get back to the junk drawer with everything in it and impossible to find something.
We like to joke that we like to force our clients to stay organized. So as an example, in a junk drawer, we would typically buy these little like acrylic dividers, and they come in all different sizes, and we fill the whole drawer, and they're all different sizes. Pens only really fit well in one. Scissors really only fit well in another one. And there's a really tiny small one that's for paper clips or whatever. And so what's nice is when, your mother-in-law's over, or your husband, or just you, and you're in a hurry or something, if the drawer has nothing in it, you can just take that pair of scissors and just throw it in the drawer. And you're just going to eventually create a big mess again. But when the drawer is filled with those organizers, you actually have to choose, even in like your hurry, you have to choose a compartment. And there's really only one compartment that it fits in. So it's like a way of forcing you to put the item back where it belongs. And then obviously too, in other zones where we can't force them in the same way, we do labels. That way it's okay, this one says linens, this one says towels, or this one says bedding. And so it just helps everyone in the home kind of keep those zones.
One of the things for me with clothing, and not that it's a huge issue, but like, right, you tend to not take stuff out of your closet as you're getting new clothes in, and to try to go through there and be like, okay, have I worn this in the last 6 months, year, whatever the time frame should be that I haven't. But it can still sometimes feel hard to be like, but I think that's the thing for me from time to time is I can envision a scenario where I would want to be able to use this or wear this. Well, so I'll usually end up taking that and putting it in a trash bag to get ready to take to Goodwill, but then let it sit in my garage for another X amount of time and then be like, yep, I didn't do that. I didn't miss that in the 3 months that I had it sitting in my garage. Let's just take it to Goodwill now, type of thing.
Yeah, so 2 things on that. One, we actually use that trick with playrooms a lot of times. A lot of times parents feel challenged to just get rid of toys. So we'll create these big black trash bags of toys that we think we're trying to declutter from the playroom. And then, we'll hide it in the garage. And parents will wait however long they want. Some wait a week, some wait 2 weeks, a month, whatever it is. And then whenever they decide, they can either take that to Goodwill or we'll come swing by and pick it up and we'll take it to Goodwill. But it's a gentle way of deciding. If you're someone who struggles with making decisions or just more indecisive or whatever it is, having a method like that can be helpful because it can feel a little too quick to make a decision like that, and like us just drive away with all your stuff and take it to a charity or something. Like, wait a second. But there's a part of that too where we like to tell people with decluttering, don't worry too much. People get really stuck on, oh my gosh, but it was so expensive, or I got it on this trip in India, or so-and-so gave it to me for my birthday. And I'm like, yeah, but do you even like it? Do you even use it? So try not to get stuck or held up on just those thoughts because those thoughts will just pound you. Oh, but I might go to a black tie party once, maybe sometime. Okay, have you ever been to one? Do you even like going to black tie events? Do you really need a tux? There's also a fun hanger trick that we'll teach clients. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing thing sometimes, but for clients who are struggling a little bit more to make those decisions, a lot of times it's really easy to go through and find the no's, the ones that are stained or too big or too small, or the no's in a closet, as an example. But the maybes in almost any space, but definitely a closet is where a lot of people struggle with maybes. I don't know, maybe I'll wear this, or maybe I'm going to go skiing soon or something like that. So there's this hanger trick where you can actually take everything in your closet and turn all the hangers around so they're like backwards. And then that way, as you reach for things and you're wearing things, you turn them around and hang them up normal. And then after a month or a couple months or whatever time frame you feel comfortable with, all the items that are hanging backwards are things that you can tell that you're not gravitating towards. And that's the thing. Remember the 80-20 rule. If you look at 80% of your closet, the majority of people are only going to wear 20% of that. So that can be a good one.
The other one that I'd heard from someone as well too before on the gift side of things is, right, people have a hard time sometimes letting go of gifts. And what they had said was, the person who was giving you the gift, if they knew that giving you this gift was causing you stress or whatever for having to keep this gift, do you think that's what they wanted? That wasn't the intent of the gift. The gift was to try to do something nice for you, a thank you or whatever that may be. And so they're not going to be upset if you decide that you no longer have a use for the gift or you don't find the gift as useful. Like the
I love
intent
that.
behind the gift is way more important than the gift. I'm sure we'll have plenty more tips and tricks for people to use. I'm excited to continue being able to
Definitely.
chat with you on organization because I've never seen anyone too organized. We'll have to get into some more specifics about that the next time as well.
Yep.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Chatting today, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds great. Thanks, Troy.
Yeah.